Alexi, I'm so happy to chat to you today in this actually sunny and fiery. We're just moving into the new Zodiac year. When this comes out, it will be the new moon, the first new moon of this Zodiac year in Aries. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling really excited about this year.
Yeah.
I feel that we all feel this kind of energy right now. And it really is the new beginning, the beginning of spring, the beginning of all our kind of new intentions that we can create for this year. So it really is an exciting time, and especially with, this eclipse energy as well that we've got coming in. There's going to be lots of positive change, I feel.
Yes, yes, and with positive change, there comes. I mean, it's not all sunshine and what's it, rainbows and
And
butterflies and all that.
moonshine, yeah,
Yeah, all of that.
totally that.
Um, there is a feeling of movement out of something old, which can be a little bit uncomfortable at times.
Yes.
But I think we're open for it, and I think we're ready for it as a collective, which is great. Um, we've had a quick chat earlier this week. I think you are doing amazing things around movement, which I feel is such an integral part of what's happening at the moment. There's fire in Aries.
Yes.
You need to move, you want to move. Tell me more about that.
Sure. So just rewinding back into what you were saying, because this kind of fire energy is really transformational for us. And Aries is a sign that's like pushing us forward. It's really like the time where, the shoots are coming through and all those kind of intentions that we've set and so on are coming into the light with this new year. And all the dreams we've made in like Pisces season and so on. That's really important. And what I also want people to realize is, this not just the fire element, but also the root chakra, which it's linked to, and the solar plexus chakra, mainly that is linked to. It used to be linked to two chakras. I think Mars is linked to the root chakra and Aries to the solar plexus. And this is really like that fiery masculine energy is the hottest of all the signs. And this is really a time, what I love as well is like Mars is ruler of movement, it's ruler of our sexual desires and our desires and our passions. So it's really helping us to just like drive forward into where we're the direction we're meant to be. And that's what this eclipse is going to be about as well. Eclipses are for showing us things that need to either be changed, but also over the next couple of months, I really feel that during this eclipse energy, there will be a lot of positive changes as well. So, yeah.
And
Really
Mars is the god of war.
Yes.
So there is fire. For me, um, in the Wisdom Seekers, we've also kind of moving into our newest or our next season, which is around the alchemy of trust. And we're embodying this fire element over the next 3 months. And as I'm looking into fire, it's the phoenix, it's the rising up out of the flames, spring pushing through. There's an anger involved in there as well. It's not
Yeah,
just forward movement. There is a desire to break out, which can be quite
definitely.
uncomfortable
Yes,
in the
most.
moment. Yeah,
Yes, but it's also a necessary thing to
yeah,
also go through for many of us, to be able to reach to the other side. And, we can take this in so many different ways, in so many different perspectives. But it's really about understanding this energy, which doesn't resonate for everybody. It can be quite overwhelming for some people.
yeah.
And there are days in Aries season, I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
A
So,
lot actually.
it really is that. So, it's about kind of, bracing yourself and keep with your vision. And I do think there's a lot of hot air as well around. Like there's how to say that, like with all these energies just really coming, whoosh, it's about actually sitting down, looking at, okay, what do I actually want? This is action time, this is decision time. It's time to go for it. It's not time to be resting anymore in winter. It's really, right, let's go. And I feel people now are starting to work more and more with these kind of cyclical energies, are starting to understand that and really embrace that. And that's really exciting, especially for someone like me who lives this way and wants to show others how to live this way. I've just launched Moveology, which is a aligned movement with astrology, medical astrology, body astrology, and the lunar cycle. It's something I actually launched 3 years ago. So this is version 2, and is something that I felt that it can really help and really change. Like, for instance, this month in Moveology, we'll have classes which are to do with, because Aries is ruler of the head, so to do with face yoga or head massage, also understanding, things like, because Mars is the ruler of all the muscles in the body, this is the perfect time to actually start a workout routine, or to really kind of kickstart into something new that you're going to enjoy physically. And that, I feel, is really important at this time as well, because really the last, winter and Pisces season is all about sleep, and that's really a time we should be sleeping the most. And now it's like, okay, so let's, up our energy and really go get what we want.
And that's through movement, and I've been finding that. I'm just looking now for, I know all the bigger planets are also moving signs, and I know there's a lot around that coming up for us, as a
Yes, there's some big changes.
Which I feel in this movement, we also get the opportunity to move out of our heads, because there's such overwhelm in the world. There's so much going on. I don't think as these mere mortals we are, at the moment, we should be subjected to all of this. And through movement, I feel we can release that energy. We can connect to the earth, however you
Most
do
definitely.
it, which is grounding, which kind of brings me back to that root chakra you mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it really is important, I feel, because so many of us, even when it comes to like self-care, and so many are blocked on our movement needs. Like, a lot of people feel that there's only one way to move, which is to go to the gym, or to do something doesn't really resonate. But there is so many ways that we can actually move our bodies, and especially intuitively. And that's really what I'm teaching now. I've been a teacher of all different types of movement for 25 years, which is longer than what I wish to say, but it's been that long. But now I'm really intuitive with it. So, we'll take the element of fire and do some sensual movement, and understand, bringing in some nice meditation, visualization, to burn away the things that we don't need, to be able to step into our power. And various classes like this, even just a simple like Pilates class we have, or a yoga class, which is in the sign of Aries. We can work with specific yoga moves which are aligned to Aries. This is all the things that you can find in Moveology now, which I'm just really proud about. So just really happy to finally have this program out there. And to get moving.
Get moving, that's it. And it's really interesting. I mean, we experience these things, my daughter gets headache, she's an Aries, and I kind of explained to her, well, this is sometimes, how things manifest for you, and it brings a deeper understanding, instead of there's something wrong with me, how I'm going to fix it, which is
exactly, that's very true, because Aries, being ruler of the head, for them energy is everything. They are go, but they tend to go so fast that they can burn out. And this is where they need to stay that kind of consistent slow burn. But when they do start to burn out, the most likely thing that's going to happen for them is that they start to get headaches. So with that, it means more rest, and what is the opposite of Aries? Where is that going to help, with the other? And that is like balance and so on. So it's really about learning this sort of thing for an Aries person. And also Aries are the type of people that don't really do much about their self-care unless there's been like a crisis or something, and then they realize how important it is, and they realize it can actually fuel them to carry on in what they need to do and do better. And that is something which I think is really interesting for Aries in general, because that can really help them to understand, okay, if I take care of my self-care, then I'm actually not going to get these, headaches or burnout or whatever, and I can keep fueling, so keep burning. So exactly. I hope that makes sense. Yeah,
which is an important lesson, I think, for all of us. She happens to be a manifestor too, so she needs a lot of rest. Yes, you were also mentioning Mars. I mean, Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars is all that fire. Mars has also got a lot to do with how we want to move, our needs and things like that. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So by looking at your birth chart and knowing where your Mars placement is, that will actually explain to you what type of movement needs that you may like, or what kind of area of movement. So for instance, if somebody was like having their Mars sign in Sagittarius, they will probably like things like going for walks or horseback riding or hiking or climbing Everest, some real adventure sort of thing. And what I found really interesting when I discovered all this some years ago, when I looked at mine is in Taurus, and Taurus is all to do with sensual movement and yoga and Kundalini yoga and so on. And that just was like, okay, I've been a sensual movement teacher for 20 years. So yeah, this makes sense, sort of thing. So it's really interesting. I've put together, it's also in rules are kind of sexual preferences as well, because it's all to do with passion and movements. So I've actually put together a couple of PDFs, which I will send to you, and you can add below if you want to, so that people can actually download that and discover where by looking at their birth chart, where their placement is, to know what their movement needs are.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Because not all of us, are spin class enthusiasts or yoga practitioners or whatever it is. Yeah.
All of this, like I've done in Moveology, each month we home in the sign, and there is lessons about body astrology for that month. Obviously all around Mars, the fire element, how all these things affect our medical astrology and so on. So you can learn all that aspect of it as well. It's not just like movement, even though movement is a big part of it, and meditation. But I find all of these things are really key. And when we start to know all of these about ourselves, then we can get a really clear idea about what we need for our personal and unique self-care. And that becomes really interesting.
Exactly. And I'm always amazed. I mean, not everybody knows things like how the new moon affects us, and that it is a time for rest, or that the full moon. So on Moveology and in the universal movement, you really put these things out clearly and nicely, so that we can all understand and find that connection point. Yeah.
Yes, I do think it's really important, because there are times to move, like this whole season is about that, but also there'll be moments of this season that we still need to rest, and we can follow that by the actual, by the understanding the moon phases. Right now is a time for rest, and it's a time for reflection. It's always that way with the new moon. And then I believe when you actually start to see that kind of waxing crescent, when we start to actually see a glimmer of the moon, that's really when we should set the intentions, like a few days after the new moon. And that can be in all areas of your life, which, you can literally manifest in every area of your life. I'm loving living this way. I can't explain it better than that.
And if it works, why not share it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's something I've been playing with for 3, 4 years now. And I feel that I'm ready enough to be able to share this confidently with others and for them to actually gain a lot from it. So, yes.
And Moveology, I know the app, as Mercury retrograde would have it. Luckily, Mercury retrograde is ending in, I think, only on the 17th, somewhere around there. So,
Well, I hope I have the app before
this,
then. Honestly, this app has been driving me crazy. There is an app coming soon, and I'll be very happy when it comes out, but all in divine timing, no
yes,
stress.
no,
And, but it has been, it's not here right now, but it will be soon. So, and it will be Universal Movement app, and you
yeah,
can find all of these programs on there. So,
yeah. And that's Universal Movement website. On the Wisdom Seeker side, which is also exciting for me, obviously,
yes.
we're going into Alchemy of Trust as a 3-month theme, and fire is our sacred element for this time as well, which is um, a lot of meaning. There's a lot of that from coming through in all elements, or all spaces. We've divided these 3 months into trust for April, which I think is quite a foundational thing, where we can kind
Yes.
of touch base. Solar plexus is the chakra we're focusing on, and I'm trying to kind of take it every time from the Earth star, so kind of coming up to a certain space and really focusing on that. And as
That's
you say,
beautiful.
yeah, Aries is also kind of part of that solar plexus.
Yes, it is
Yeah,
totally linked to the solar plexus and also, linked to the fire element, obviously. And that's really, this energy is really like pushing us forward. It's something which is discreet but happening, and I think we can all feel it.
yeah,
And within your work, the way that you're bringing in all the chakras, because, everything is linked.
yeah, yeah,
So that's something where I think is really important work to be received as well. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's an interesting journey. We're going from April, we'll go into May, where we're looking at creativity, where we're going into the heart chakra, and kind of looking at how do we express, because the heart's such a powerful um, part of our being. There's this whole field that we can create around this chakra. uh,
Yes, and it
and
can expand much further than what we realize.
yeah,
And yeah, we can bring in others into this, and it's a
yeah,
very, very interesting space to work with. All the chakras are really
yeah,
powerful in their own right.
yeah.
And to start with the solar plexus and the root and so on is
Mm,
is really important, because it's something that's going to fuel your energy and replenish your energy. I feel.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And and then at the end of this, we're going into kind of adding value. So trust, and then we express ourselves, and then we can be part of this world, and that's also the throat chakra and how we share our stories and um, express ourselves, I suppose, again, which can be quite tricky. And I'm sure we're going to touch on these as we do our conversations more and more over
Yes.
the next 3 months. The Wisdom Seekers is also being opened only between the new moon and the full moon, at the start of each of these seasons, I want to call them.
Yeah, they are seasons.
This
Yeah.
is- yeah. So we're going into this fire season, and we are going to learn to hopefully trust ourselves and our space in the bigger picture, because there is such a bigger picture involved. I mean, I'm always amazed how we can sit. You're in France, I'm up in Derbyshire in England, and yet there's such a connection over a superficial,
Mm.
screen situation, which is the power of the human spirit, I think, or the human.
I think so. It comes across, you know, like,
yeah,
so yeah, I totally agree with you. And about, you know, trust and learning to trust ourselves, but also trust others is the foundation of things. And yeah, I think it's a really lovely, lovely place to start, you know, with
yeah,
the spring and growing that
yeah,
is a really beautiful theme.
yeah. Well, so we'll discover it all.
Indeed.
It is quite tricky to trust in the world at the moment. I've switched. Well, I have for a couple of years now. Switched everything off, and every now and then I talk to people and they ask me, "Do you know what's going on?" And no, I'm okay. Thanks. It's all good.
I understand that very well. I do understand that, though. I feel there's like, you know, there's a lot under the surface, and there's also, this is what I was saying about hot air. I think there's a lot up in the air which doesn't really have any weight to it,
Yeah,
or, you know, and so on. But there are some other things that really do need to be nurtured, and we need to turn back to simpler times and simpler ways.
yeah,
And this is where I believe, you know, what we're trying to offer and what we are offering is giving a space for that. So
yeah.
yeah.
Which comes back to movement. You know,
Yeah.
there's a, I think it's a Buddhist saying, or I can't remember what the base of it is, but when you know, chop wood and carry water. Um,
Tell
I'll
me more.
yeah, it's when you know, when you need to reconnect, is chop wood, carry water. Um,
That makes sense.
there's movement.
Yeah.
There's, you know, there is
Life is
looking
movement, you
after
know, that's the
yourself.
thing. Yeah, it really
Exactly.
is.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the time for that right now.
Yeah.
So to really decide, okay, where do I want to go? What do I want this year to be? What are my goals? And I'll be running a class on this Sunday, which
Yeah.
is new moon, solar eclipse, for dreaming and thinking about intentions. And then you can set those intentions a few days later, after this kind of eclipse energy has died down. But that's something really important, just to reflect that this is really the new year. You know, it's
Yeah.
right now the new year, and you know, it can be anything you want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. But also to be where you want to be, you know, to make
Yeah.
those choices and to know that we do have choice. There's one of my someone in a networking call said it once, and it'll stick with me forever. You always have a choice to be naked. So yeah, let's go with that.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alexi. And if
Thank
anyone
you
wants
too.
to find some more, I know you do amazing yoga nidra, you do meditation classes. There's all kinds of things happening in the universal movement and in Moveology to come. Pop into the universalmovement.com and do pop into the Wisdom Seekers as well. I'd love to chat to anybody that's interested or wants to join or just wants to have a chat. That would be lovely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's a pleasure as
Thank you.
always.
Same. Chat soon.
Yeah, speak to you soon.